The message came in at 6:47 on a Thursday evening while I was sitting in a laundromat on Bloor Street, watching my work shirts spin in circles and wondering if this was what 32 felt like. I had a coffee going cold on the plastic chair beside me, a bag of salt and vinegar chips I kept telling myself I wasn't going to open, and a phone that hadn't buzzed in 3 days, which was fine. Completely fine. I was very at peace with it. Then it buzzed. I'm at the corner table by the window. Blue scarf. First date in 9 years and I already spilled water on the menu. Please don't be weird. I stared at the screen for longer than was probably normal. The number wasn't saved. No contact, no name, no clue. A second message followed before I could decide what to do. Also, my sister said to text you the moment I got there, so she knows I'm not backing out. She doesn't know I sent this to the wrong person. Nobody tell her. I should have typed wrong number and gone back to watching my shirts. That would have been the sensible thing, the adult thing, the thing a man does when he's got laundry to fold and a bag of chips calling his name. Instead, I sat there in the humming quiet of that laundromat and felt something I hadn't felt in a while. Something like recognition. Because whoever she was, she sounded like someone who had talked herself into something brave and terrifying and was now sitting alone at a corner table in a blue scarf, hoping it had been worth it. I knew that feeling. After my relationship with Anya ended, 2 years together, one lease, a lot of things left unsaid, people kept telling me I'd get back out there eventually. Like dating was a hiking trail and not a cliff face in the rain. I kept nodding. I kept not going. I typed, I think you may have the wrong number. But for what it's worth, spilling water on the menu is an excellent power move. Very intimidating. 3 dots appeared immediately, then stopped, then appeared again. Oh no, I smiled in spite of myself. I'm so sorry. I'm going to ask this table to swallow me. Don't, I wrote. Tables in restaurants are notoriously unsympathetic. A pause. Then, you're nicer than I expected a stranger to be. That sentence should have been the end of it. It was a complete interaction. Polite, clean done. I typed back anyway. Her name was Lily. Lily Okafor, 38, high school art teacher in Scarborough. Her daughter was 11 and had gone to her grandmother's for the night, which was the only reason Lily's best friend had successfully pressured her into downloading an app and agreeing to meet someone named Todd, who had seemed perfectly reasonable in his profile and had a golden retriever, and described himself as low-key outdoorsy, which Lily said she was still trying to decode. Todd was 7 minutes late. Then 12. Lily texted, I think he might have found someone with a better menu. I looked at my laundry halfway through its cycle. I looked at the chips. I looked at my phone. Do you want me to keep texting until your food arrives? I wrote. I have nowhere to be and approximately 40 minutes left on my dryer, she replied. That is honestly the most comforting thing anyone has said to me in months. Which is either sweet or alarming, I haven't decided. So I did. I sat on a plastic chair in a laundromat on Bloor Street and texted a stranger through what should have been her first date in 9 years. I asked what restaurant she was at. A little Frenchish place on Queen West called Maison Quelque Chose. She described it as the kind of place where the bread costs $17 and arrives like a gift. I asked if she'd ordered the bread. She said she'd eaten most of it already and was considering her options regarding the second basket. Go for it, I said. You've earned it. The menu says the bread is for the table, she replied. There is no table. Only me. Then it's your bread now, legally. A laugh emoji. Then quieter. Can I tell you something honest? Since we'll never meet and I've already humiliated myself, I shifted on the chair. The dryer kept going. Sure. Her reply came slowly, like she was choosing the words carefully. I'm not even that disappointed he might not show. I'm just scared I'm the kind of person who stops trying now. Does that make sense? Like I made myself come tonight to prove I still could, and now I'm sitting here and I don't actually know if I can. I put the phone down for a second. The fluorescent lights of the laundromat flickered slightly, the way they always did around the 8 o'clock hour, like they were also tired. Outside on Bloor, a streetcar went past. I understood her more than I wanted to admit. After Anya, I had gone to exactly one social event in 8 months and spent most of it near the coat rack pretending to check my phone. I told people I was introverted. I told myself I was healing. Sometimes healing and hiding look enough alike that you stop checking which one you're doing. I think, I typed, showing up when you don't know how it ends is the bravest version of trying, even if the ending is bread and an empty chair. A minute passed. Then, That sounds like something someone thoughtful would say. I was still looking at that when she sent. Todd just walked in. Something shifted in my chest, which made no sense whatsoever. I didn't know this woman. I had no stake in her evening, no right to feel anything about a stranger named Todd with a golden retriever and ambiguous outdoor habits. But she had told me something true, and I didn't want the evening to go badly for her. "How's he look?" I typed. Like his profile, but slightly more nervous. "Okay, I should put my phone away. Good luck," I wrote. "Thank you, wrong number stranger." I put my phone in my pocket. I went back to my laundry. I told myself that was a nice, complete, finished thing. 14 minutes later, she texted again. So, bit of a development. I picked up the phone. He brought someone. I read that 3 times. His roommate, apparently. Her name is Courtney. Todd says she's just being supportive because this is his first date since his divorce, and she wanted to make sure it went well. She is now sitting at our table ordering a glass of Malbec. I stared at the screen. There are moments in life where you don't need to know a person to know exactly how they feel. "Lily," I typed. "Are you okay?" I'm smiling like I'm fine. I have a lot of practice at that. That sentence landed somewhere specific. "You don't have to stay." "I paid for parking," she replied. $8. "I'm committed." I almost laughed out loud. The older man folding a sweater 2 machines down looked over. $8 is sunk cost, I wrote. "You don't owe Todd or Courtney anything. Courtney's telling me about her pottery classes." I feel like I'm being hazed. Classic first date hazing. Very common in the pottery community. She just asked if I do anything creative. I said I'm an art teacher. She said, "Oh, like Pinterest stuff?" "Walk out," I said. "You have my blessing. Take the bread." "I can't take the bread. It is legally, morally, and emotionally yours." 3 dots appeared, disappeared. Then Todd just told her to be nice. She said she was being nice. He said, "Courtney, come on." She said, "What?" "I'm asking questions." And then, a minute later, "Oh, I see." He called her honey. Under his breath, but I caught it. I put down my bag of chips. "They're together," Lily wrote. "Aren't they?" It wasn't a question. I looked at my phone. The dryer beeped. My clothes were done. "Lily," I typed. "Would you like me to call you?" There was a pause long enough that I thought I'd misread the moment. Then, "Yes, please." She picked up on the first ring. Her voice was quieter than I expected, and steadier, but I could hear the effort it took to be steady. "Hey," she said. "Hey." I stood up from the plastic chair and walked toward the back of the laundromat, past the broken change machine. "You okay?" "I'm doing that thing where I'm very calm, and later I'm going to feel this." "Yeah," I said. "I know that thing." "He seems genuinely nice," she said. Lower now, careful not to be heard. "Which almost makes it worse. Like I can't even be angry. You can be whatever you need to be." A small breath. His roommate. On a first date, I know. I wore a nice scarf. I pressed my back against the wall. "It's a great scarf. I've heard a lot about it," she laughed. Soft and surprised. "Okay," she said. "Okay, I think I'm going to go." "Do you want a reason? I can give you a reason." "I have a reason. I just need a push." "You have a daughter at her grandmother's," I said. "And you came out tonight because you were brave enough to try. You don't owe anyone a second act." Silence. Then Todd's voice in the background, pleasant and slightly bewildered. "Lily, is everything okay?" Her voice changed. Not louder, just clearer. "Actually, I'm going to head out. I just remembered I need to." "Yeah, I'm sorry. I hope you guys have a good night." Courtney said something I didn't catch. Todd said, "Oh, really, really," Lily said. I heard the shift of a chair, the rustle of a coat, someone setting down a glass. "I'm walking out," she said quietly into the phone. "You're doing great. I'm grabbing the rest of the bread. Excellent decision. It's in my purse. I am proud of you." She made a sound halfway between a laugh and an exhale as she pushed through the door. Street noise flooded the call, the sound of Queen West at night, a TTC bus, someone's music from a patio nearby. "I'm outside," she said. "On the sidewalk. In my scarf. With stolen bread. That's a good place to be, Daniel." My name in her voice, after only knowing it from text for an hour, was a different thing somehow. "Thank you. For just being there." "That sounds ridiculous." "It doesn't." She went quiet for a moment, then. "Would it be strange if I said I don't really want to hang up yet?" I looked around the laundromat, at my clean laundry sitting in the dryer, at the salt and vinegar chips on the chair, at the Thursday evening I'd written off as nothing. "No," I said. "It would be strange if I wanted to." We stayed on the line. She walked east on Queen. I finally folded my shirts. She told me about her daughter, Zoe, who was 9 and already expressing strong opinions about everything from breakfast cereal to the ethics of homework. I told her about my job, project coordinator at a civil engineering firm in the financial district, which sounds more impressive than it is when you're spending most of Thursday evening in a laundromat on Bloor. At least you got your laundry done, she said. Small victories. Do you always do laundry on Thursdays? I do everything on Thursdays. It's my power day. It's genuinely not a power day vibe. I laughed. And yet, here I am. A pause. Comfortable, somehow. The kind that doesn't need to be filled. Then Lily said quieter, "He's behind me." My hand tightened around the phone. Todd? Yeah. He came out alone. Courtney must still be inside. Are you okay? He's just walking. He's not scary. He's calling my name. I stood up from the chair. I don't know why I stood up. I was 15 blocks away and had no car. Standing up accomplished nothing. I stood up anyway. Lily, I said, how far are you from your car? Half a block. Keep walking. He's saying he wants to explain. You don't have to receive that tonight. She inhaled. I know, a beat. He's getting closer. Then pick up the pace. You've got a 9-year-old who makes strong points about cereal. You don't need Todd's explanation. A breath of a laugh. Footsteps faster. Todd's voice came through the line. Lily, can we talk for a second? I know it looks bad, but Courtney and I it's complicated, we're not. I wanted tonight to be real. I just thought having her there would settle my nerves. Lily stopped walking. I heard it. Todd, she said, very even, very quiet. I came on this date because I was trying to be brave. I haven't done this in 9 years. I put on a scarf and I showed up alone and I paid $8 for parking. And you brought your girlfriend. She's not. We're on a break. I don't need the details. Her voice didn't rise. That made it land harder. I just need you to let me get to my car. Silence. Then Todd said, with genuine-sounding regret, I'm sorry, I really am. You seem great. I know, Lily said. Good night, Todd. Footsteps. A car door. The muffled sound of the city going quiet. I'm in my car, she said. I exhaled. Good, I'm just sitting here for a second. Take all the time you want. The line was quiet. Outside the laundromat, someone walked past with a dog. The broken change machine made its one hopeful clicking sound and then gave up again the way it always did. Daniel, Lily said, can I ask you something weird? At this point, yes. Where are you right now? Bloor and Ossington, Laundromat. Is that the one with the mural on the side? The big orange one? I turned toward the window. Yeah, the bird thing. I know exactly where you are. A pause. I drive past that place every week. Something about that felt significant in a way I couldn't quite name. Two people in the same city, running parallel for years, ending up in the same conversation by mistake. You should go home, I said. I know. Zoo's at your mum's? My mom, yeah. She'll probably be awake watching British crime dramas and pretending she wasn't worried. Text me when you get home? A pause. Then, softly, I was going to accidentally text you anyway. I walked home with my laundry under one arm and the chips I'd finally opened in the other. And I kept thinking about a woman in a blue scarf on Queen West who had gone home with stolen bread and, against all reasonable odds, made my Thursday feel like something. She texted when she got home. I texted back. We kept going. That wasn't the part I expected. The thing about talking to Lily was that it felt less like getting to know someone and more like remembering something I'd forgotten about myself. She was funny in a dry, sidelong way that only landed if you were paying attention. She had opinions about everything. Ontario wine, the Gardner Expressway, whether sourdough had peaked, and she held them without needing you to agree. She had loved someone for 12 years, lost him to a cardiac event at 41, and spent 2 years afterward figuring out what shape her life was now. We met in person for the first time 3 weeks later, for coffee at a place near her school in Scarborough. Neutral territory, her suggestion. I got there first and sat at the window table without thinking about it. When she walked in, blue scarf, because she was that kind of person, and saw me at the corner table, she stopped in the doorway and laughed. You're at the window table, she said. I didn't even notice. I did. She sat down across from me and put her bag on the chair beside her and looked at me the way you look at someone when you've already had 100 conversations. And this is just the first one that happens in the same room. Hi. The coffee was good. The conversation was easy in the way it only is when you've already done the hard parts somewhere else, over text and phone calls at odd hours. I met Zoe 6 weeks after that. Lily set it up carefully, low pressure, a trip to the AGO on a Saturday where I was just a family friend. Zoe was 9 years old and had inherited exactly none of her mother's ability to hide what she was thinking. She looked at me from under the brim of her winter hat and said, "Are you the one who called my mom from the laundromat?" I looked at Lily. Lily looked at the ceiling. "I am," I said. This. Zoe considered this. "She said you were funny. Are you funny? I have my moments." Name one. I thought about it. I once convinced a laundromat cashier to release waffles into the wild. Zoe stared at me. "That doesn't make any sense." "I know. But your mom laughed." Zoe looked at her mom. Lily was absolutely pretending to read an exhibit label. "She's easy to make laugh," Zoe said, but something in her expression had settled. We spent 2 hours looking at paintings. Zoe had thoughts about all of them, detailed, unfiltered, occasionally devastating thoughts. At one point, she stood in front of a large abstract piece and said, "It looks like someone was upset and didn't have anyone to talk to." Lily got very quiet. I pretended to look at the placard. Walking out, Zoe held her mother's hand. And then, without making a thing of it, grabbed one of my fingers too. Just one finger, like she was testing a theory. I didn't say anything. Neither did she. That was, I think, the moment. Lily and I had our first real argument 4 months in, over nothing that mattered and everything underneath it. I had offered to look into something financial, refinancing options on her condo, because a colleague of mine had just gone through the process, and she had gone sharp and quiet in a way that took me a few hours to understand. "I know how to manage my own finances," she said. "I know you do. Then why did you bring it up?" I sat with that. "Because I wanted to help. I know." She looked out the window of her kitchen. "Marcus used to do that. Come in with solutions before I'd even said there was a problem. And I loved him." "I'm not saying." She stopped. "I just need to still be the person who knows what she's doing, even when I'm with someone." I put down the glass I was holding. I sat on the kitchen stool. "Okay," I said. "Tell me when you want solutions, and when you just want someone to know what's happening." She looked at me. Something moved across her face. "Company," she said quietly. "Usually I just want company, then I'm very good at that." She laughed a little, came and leaned against the counter beside me. "You are, actually. I got very good at company. The winter was easy. The spring was better. By summer, I was picking Zoe up from day camp on Tuesdays when Lily had a staff meeting, which had started as a practical arrangement and become something I looked forward to every week. Zoe told me things on those drives that I understood were not casual. Complaints about her friends, questions about her dad, one afternoon of completely unexpected, crying that I handled badly and then better, pulling over on Danforth because she needed to stop moving, and I didn't know what else to offer except to be still with her. "Do you think he would have liked you?" she asked, when it had passed. I thought about that, honestly. I don't know. I'd like to think so. But I didn't know him. Mom said he was stubborn. I can be stubborn. She said he was also really kind. I'm working on that. Zoe wiped her face with the sleeve of her camp shirt. She smiles more now than before. I didn't know what to say to that, so I didn't say anything. I handed her the water bottle from the back seat, and she drank it, and we sat there on Danforth until she was ready to go. There are things that people who haven't done it don't understand about loving someone who is still carrying someone else. It isn't competition. It's more like renovation, making room without knocking anything down. Lily kept a photo of Marcus on the bookshelf in the living room. I never moved it. Zoe sometimes talked about him in the present tense by accident, and then corrected herself with this small flinch, and I learned not to call attention to it either way. Some nights Lily would get quiet in a way that had nothing to do with me, and I learned to sit beside that silence like it was furniture. You don't replace the grief. You just build the house big enough for it. We got engaged on a Sunday in February, which neither of us had planned. We were at her kitchen table doing completely different things. She was marking art projects. I was on my laptop dealing with a site report, and I looked up and saw her in the afternoon light from the window, a red pen behind her ear, frowning at a grade 8 collage, and thought, I don't want to do any part of my life somewhere she isn't. I said it out loud, which surprised us both. She put down the pen, looked at me carefully. What are you saying? I'm saying I want to marry you. I don't have a ring right now because I didn't plan this. You didn't plan this. Not even a little bit. She looked at the table, at the art projects, at me. Then she reached across and put her hand on mine. Okay, she said. Okay, yes, or okay, you need time. Okay, yes, she said. But I want a real ring, obviously, with a receipt so I can exchange it if I hate it. That's extremely reasonable. She was laughing by then, and so was I. And Zoe appeared in the doorway in her socks holding a bowl of cereal and said, "Why are you both being weird?" And Lily said, "We're getting married." And Zoe said, with her characteristic economy of expression, "Finally." Then she went back to her cereal. We got married that October at a small venue near the water in Pickering. Nothing elaborate, about 40 people, the kind of wedding where you eat well, and nobody has to make small talk with strangers for longer than they want to. Lily wore something ivory and simple that she'd found at a shop on Roncesvalles and refused to show me until the day. Zoe wore a green dress and co-signed the ceremony with the expression of someone granting permission. At one point during the toasts, Lily's best friend Pauline told the full story of the wrong number. The app, the date, the text that went to a stranger in a laundromat. By the end of the table, someone had placed a breadbasket next to our place settings as a joke. Lily picked up a roll, held it like evidence, and said something only I could hear. We started with wrong numbers and stolen bread. I covered her hand with mine. Seems about right. Zoe gave a toast that nobody had asked for or expected. She stood up without being invited to, clinked her glass of Shirley Temple, and said, very seriously, "Daniel doesn't make my mom feel like she has to explain herself. That's all." Then she sat down. 40 people got quiet. Then someone started clapping, and then everyone did. That's the whole story, I think. A text at 6:47 on a Thursday, a stranger's nervous voice across a laundry machine, a blue scarf on Queen West, a kid who tested me with one finger at the AGO and upgraded me to a full hand on Danforth. Some evenings after dinner now, Lily will text me from the other room. "Are you available to talk a woman out of eating the last of the good crackers?" And I'll text back from 6 feet away. Depends. "Are they the fancy ones?" "Yes, then you're on your own." Wrong answer, she sends. "Come be company," and I put my phone down, and I go.